"Got a bit of an issue I need your help with, kiddo," Grandpa told him. They were sharing some root beer on the porch while clouds scudded by overhead and the late morning breeze was almost chilly. Michael had expected a lot of talk about the divorce and his mom moving out, but Grandpa was avoiding it altogether. Instead, there was the crisp, icy sweetness of IBC and the steady creak of Grandpa rocking back and forth. The grass was getting a bit long. Michael would have to come over and cut it pretty soon. "What's going on? You want me to mow the lawn?" He liked mowing the lawn, actually. Afterwards, there was always a slice of cold watermelon and another root beer, and he could turn his brain completely off. Grandpa laughed. "Sure, bud, tomorrow after your paper's done. This is something else, though. After that whole business with Mr. Lansing, he told me he warned you." Michael nodded. "Warned you he'd been fiddling with people's heads, making them into time bombs. I'm sure you remember it well enough. Well, I talked with that darned fool who likes calling himself Zeus and the rest of the regents, and they decided we couldn't just sit on our hands and wait for the whole town to go off." "Wait a minute. You mean like that girl at camp?" he asked. "The one who attacked Zalowski?" Grandpa nodded. "Just like that." "Why would she try to kill him? That didn't make any sense." "Okay, I just don't get how you could make someone into a bomb," Michael said. He never would have said it out loud if he had known Terrence Jackson was going to walk right up to Grandpa's house at that moment. But Jackson appeared, looking every inch the villain as he always had. "Well," Grandpa frowned. "Let me explain by way of a demonstration," Jackson said. "You've seen hypnotism, yes?" How had he snuck up so quietly? Michael wondered, not for the first time, if Jackson had already done some sort of mind stuff on him and made him deaf at certain times. Sure. There is a phenomenon called hypnotic suggestion, where you have the ability to implant reactions or orders straight to the unconscious mind, sort of like modifying the operating system of a computer directly. As a science, it still has a long way to go, but as an active ability, it's a bit different. For instance, I will make your grandfather act like a chicken. "Heck you will," Grandpa declared. "You may or may not know about all the variance waveform emitters I've got placed all over my house, Jackson, so let me just say that your powers aren't going to work here, so don't—" Jackson just said quintessence applesauce radiation. Grandpa immediately stood up, crooked his arms into wings, and started clucking like a chicken. His neck shot out every time he took a step, and it was actually quite well done. "Stop it!" "You see how it works," Jackson said mildly, as if there was no grown man here strutting around, scratching the boards of the porch with his feet or darting his head out in quick, jagged movements. "I could have implanted a suggestion a week ago, a month ago. In this case, the second time I met your grandfather almost 10 years ago. It's possible to use a keyword. That's common. A phrase, a smell, a specific color, some sort of event the subject will witness." "Okay, I get it," Michael snapped. "Make him stop." "I do this with everybody when I meet them." "So if I say quint something applesauce radiation, everybody on the street will turn into chickens?" Jackson gave him a dark smile. "Best if you didn't. So you can stop any time now. The actual activation doesn't need to be anything special, but using the power to implant the suggestion, that has to be done under specific circumstances. Like when Mr. Lansing had almost everyone in town in the high school gym for several hours, the people need to be relaxed and fairly unaware that something is going on. Purple rhinoceros." Grandpa stopped clucking and sat back down in his chair, talking as if nothing had happened. "Anyway, it won't work, so don't try it. They tell me actives just get a headache trying funny business around here." Michael didn't like how funny it had been. He wasn't often enraged and ready to laugh out loud at the same time. "How difficult is it?" Michael asked. "I can't remember. Well, that's not true. I believe I did my first hypnotic suggestion roughly 3 years after I activated